Take it
There we
away,
go.
Paul.
Hello, hello. All righty. No, thank you all. Assembling, of course, it's just a great appreciation to know just our relationship and where we have grown and developed, seeing the growth of my own self and also just embracing that. So my name is Paul Jackson II. I'm from Miami, Florida. I've had the opportunity to, where I say education has really been a big center for my life and just, of course, community involvement. Um, Being born and raised in Miami Gardens specifically, um, I've always just been aware of just potential and being able to have the opportunity to utilize education allowed me to travel and be exposed to different opportunities, such as different learning environments, especially within college. You can attend three different colleges, so just seeing different ways of structure, organizing, community involvement, um, and just passion where returning back to Miami, Florida, which was an opportunity for me to return through Teach for America. I only shared I would only do the organization if I'm able to come back home. And since doing so, I'm entering my fourth year as an educator. This upcoming year, I'll be teaching at Booker T Senior Washington High School in Overtown, specifically Miami. And just throughout my years, where it's been impactful to showcase the students, seeing somebody who's a native and, just be like, hey, like, what are things that we can begin doing actively, especially within my own community, of how we can present ourselves or be a lot more active in getting that involvement. I found myself recently over last month, actually, where a school that's near my house, it's called Norwood Elementary. Um, the landscape of it not the best presentable. If you see it as an elementary school, you kind of find yourself thinking like, wow, like kids go here. And I made some comments to certain people where I was like, what are y'all thoughts as you look at this school in particular, where like the lighting presentation wasn't, bright, just very dimming. And for myself, I was like, wow, like I'm thankful I didn't go here, but I know as a teacher, like teachers work here, students go to school here. So you have to make the best of your means. And for doing so, a lot of times we're always advocating to see other people try to help our solutions. And for me, it's like I don't like waiting. If I have an idea, let's like go after it. And this was what came to me actually for today. So I'm sharing over my presentation with you all now. And we go here. And here we go. So empowering community. Yeah, let's go slideshow. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So today we're going over empowering communities for change, galvanizing civic engagement and taking action. So where I'm going to start off is I want you all to just pay close attention. I'm going to pull up a link of a news clip. So there's this music festival that goes on annually called Rolling Loud Hip Hop. You get a wide range of demographics, but it's really a youthful audience. People, attendees from my age at 18 and their 20s, 30s. We're just looking at, your current hip hop artists or rappers, just in your pop entertainment um, providing. So what I'm going to do currently is I'm going to show you the link of how the news was reporting the anticipation of what was going to happen, the expected amount of attendees that were coming, and also just to kind of see, have you all just think of like, all right, how is the community being involved? Who are they sharing about the community? And why is the community um, actually actively at this event? So I'll let you all have a chance. If you have a pen, paper, or you just want to share different thoughts, so you can write in the chat. You can be able to share that. And I'll play the clip when everybody's ready. Let me see. Is my audio on? Share. Okay. Let's see. It's gonna play. Let's see. If not, I can pull up the second. Yeah, just once again, I'll have the video play. I want you all to pay attention to just the news. We're gonna let this play one time, get our thoughts, and then I'm gonna share it again, and we're gonna see how we can actively engage um, what we're being exposed to. Let's see. Refresh. Let's go so slow now. There we go. We're not gonna play. That's interesting. Okay. Here we go.
Sea of people making their way into Hard Rock Stadium tonight.
Everyone here? Okay.
Miami. A massive sea of people making their way into Hard Rock Stadium tonight for the Rolling Loud Music Festival.
Music fans lined up in Miami Gardens this afternoon, braving the extreme heat. And with no signs of a cool down, authorities are urging anyone who attends the outdoor event to be careful.
For sure. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward is in Miami Gardens, where music fans also danced around another problem.
Some people spent 45 minutes wandering around Hard Rock Stadium and the Rolling Loud stages, smothered by traffic and stifling heat. At Hard Rock Stadium, the payoff for hip-hop fans who ran through gates. Woo! Let's go! Act a lose your shirt vibe. Scorching hot temperatures melted ice faster than Jermaine Bernard sold cold drinks.
Yes, they buying a lot of water, man. Waters and juice is going hot bread.
Expecting extreme afternoon and evening heat to feel like 110 degrees, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue warned anyone spending time outside to beware, protect themselves from sun exposure, and hydrate.
Under this warning, conditions can potentially be very dangerous and even cause a deadly heat stroke, even with limited exposure.
In Homestead,
breaks because that's production time.
Back at Rolling Loud, promoters expect 80,000 people between now and Sunday night. Concert goers told us staff usually give free water bottles, so despite stifling traffic slowing them down, making some wait outside, people on foot, in carts, in cars, en route to the festival hardly felt any excitement melt.
But it's all right because we're here for Rolling Loud. We're decked out with the squad. We got the mob. We're going crazy. It's going to be a great year. We're going to drink a lot of water, stay hydrated out there, folks. That's the key to success, baby.
In Miami Gardens, Larry Seward, CBS News, Miami.
Okay. I'll let we have any immediate thoughts or reactions. If anyone has, or just whoever is ready to quick and let that have a discussion, and then I'll let us play it again as well. Okay, Emilia, yeah, you can come up here.
It's different than some similar situations I've been in, where people get stressed out and sometimes fights even start over stupid things. It seemed like everybody was in a good mood and just excited to be there, even though it was hot and crowded. And also this may not be a point of it, but something that did stand out to me is that organizers were handing out bottled water, where a lot of the entertainment that I've gone to, it's been the exact opposite. They don't want you to have water. And if you arrive like at the gates and you have water on you, they will take it away from you. Doesn't matter how hot it is or anything like that. So I think that probably went a long way towards helping people accept or deal with the fact that it was so hot and crowded and took a long time to get in.
Correct, correct. Yeah. Anyone else want to chime in? Or
Melissa has a great statement in the chat.
okay, okay.
Take it away, Melissa.
Oh, yeah, it's I just found myself very interested in media lately.
Mhm.
I have been realizing I need to consume media from a lot of different sources, because certainly network media, they are bought and sold by capitalism and corporations. And so my comment was, I felt it was very interesting that it seemed as though they were trying to discourage people from going to an event by just talking about how hot it was. When, I mean, and especially, I guess you have to think about this in terms of being in Florida. It's not the friendliest place for anybody except white old men. And so I just can't help to think how much of the news is being, in a very subtle way, potentially racist, without, I mean, there's no way somebody could actually just label it in a really, because to label it, then this defensiveness would happen, that then, I don't know, it was disturbing to me from that perspective personally, because it was like hip hop I mean, it's celebrating its 50-year anniversary. That's a pretty cool thing. And like, why aren't they focusing on any of the positives around that?
That's true. There was no mention of that. And I think what's also fascinating is over time we're just seeing a lapse of artists that are being shared, or we say more of hip hop, the celebratory aspect. A lot of what we see now is more catered to what you see in TikTok, or just the silly entertainment that we see. I'll say my generation, even younger. So students that we teach are following that might not really be the best messages of showing them how to present themselves. But Charlotte, you have your hand up. I'll let you go.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, I guess, from a different perspective. I think normally what happens on the race side of it, they wouldn't have been so positive. You know, take care of yourself. The heat is this. They would be emphasizing, you know, the last time they were in the town, it was a riot and the police came and took so many, they would tell the negative, which in other words, they're exciting people to be bad because they tell them ahead of time. But maybe I'm thinking of it negative. I think they were beyond supportive of the people there. And you don't find that in many cases. If it had been, I'm not up on all the stuff out there, but the music that, you know, talk negative about women and negative about people, even people who look like us do that, I think they would have taken a different approach, is what I'm saying. A negative
for sure.
approach. Yeah.
For sure. Does anybody remember how many people they said was expected to be in attendance?
Yeah, and they would have, instead of giving them stuff, they would have had the police there searching them as they're going in.
Oh, yeah. They always have that security.
Yeah, I think it was 80,000, Paul, right?
Yes, it was 80,000. So what's ironic is normally the expected occupancy can be over 100,000. So there was reduced this year. So the difference a lot within the heat. And what I really want to focus on is, even while I was in there, I saw opportunity where, you know, as you mentioned, they'll show individual there who was selling drinks and waters, something that I was able to do as well. So they mentioned how they served out free water. That was more so inside the venue. So still to Melissa's point, anybody who had drinks coming in, they made them discard that. But I'll play it one more time, and like I would like also to see more observant to kind of like how the people are being transported, or as they mentioned with like drinks. So it's like we pay attention to that. They might not really acknowledge it too much, but you can see like in the background of how people are engaging. And I'll point out stuff to you all as well. So I'll play it now, give everybody a little second.
Miami. A massive sea of people making their way into Hard Rock Stadium tonight for the Rolling Loud Music Festival.
Music fans lined up in Miami Gardens this afternoon, braving the extreme heat. And with no signs of a cool down, authorities are urging anyone who attends the outdoor event to be careful.
For sure. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward is in Miami Gardens, where music fans also danced around another problem.
Some people spent 45 minutes wandering around Hard Rock Stadium and the Rolling Loud stages, smothered by traffic and stifling heat. At Hard Rock Stadium, the payoff for hip-hop fans who ran through gates.
Woo! Let's go!
Fact, a lose your shirt vibe. Scorching hot temperatures melted ice faster than Jermaine Bernard sold cold drinks.
Yes, they buying a lot of water, man. Waters and juice going hot bread.
Expecting extreme afternoon and evening heat to feel like 110 degrees, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue warned anyone spending time outside to beware, protect themselves from sun exposure, and hydrate.
Under this warning, conditions can potentially be very dangerous and even cause a deadly heat stroke, even with limited exposure.
Back at Rolling Loud, promoters expect 80,000 people between now and Sunday night. Concert goers told us staff usually give free water bottles, so despite stifling traffic slowing them down, making some wait outside, people on foot, in carts, in cars, en route to the festival hardly felt any excitement melt.
But it's all right because we're here for Rolling Loud. We're decked out with the squad. We got the mob. We're going crazy. It's going to be a great year. We're going to drink a lot of water. Stay hydrated out there, folks. That's the key to success, baby.
In Miami Gardens, Larry Seward, CBS News, Miami.
All right, so, let's see, we got a couple. Okay. Yeah, so this was something I want to be even just pausing it here for we have this man. So what I was observing and even what I found as an opportunity where it was actually unique where members in the community stay in Miami Gardens. So I live in this area as well. It's the third largest city municipality inside Miami-Dade County. This is also your largest predominantly Black residential area in the state of Florida as well. And oftentimes with the Miami Dolphins Stadium, so that's where you're home of the NFL team, Miami Dolphins host a lot of different venues or entertainment in this area. A lot of the money isn't flowed or trickles throughout the community at all. And the question for myself is always just like, why is that? Why do we have such a revenue or entertainment that brings over almost $500 million annually? But just the community really does not have a chance to touch that money at all. But when I was there, I had to see questions and just observing where the little money that I was able to see people take advantage of was such as example here. Someone who was able to like rent out a bike, or if this is their own transportation aspect as well, well, they'll charge members or if people who are attending the festival. What I saw was really ironic was people allow their homes and their parking or just backyards, front yards to just be able to have members say, hey, you can park here for $15, $20. Whereas if you park at the stadium, you're paying $40 plus, or the different areas there. So I found maybe people trying to be able to capitalize on that. In addition to knowing that you're going to have like a good little walk, people were able to rent out their different shuttles or take advantage of different golf carts and charge people, say, $5 to $10 from there to just be able to take people easy transportation back and forth from the stadium. And it just got me raising eyebrows. I'm like, you know what, this is actually pretty cool. Like, I wonder if the schools are actually involved with this at all. Like, what if this is an opportunity where a lot of the schools in the area try to galvanize and say like, hey, we want to be able to maximize or say whatever funds we need for the rest of the school year, let's take advantage of this opportunity to do so. So things I wanted to point out was, as mentioned, they showed a gentleman earlier, he was providing a service of selling water and Gatorade, just different drinks to members who are walking and commuting to the event, which is something that I was able to do as well. And just engaging with different people who are coming to the event. They were just sharing like where they were travel from. We've had people coming from California, out of the country as well, but just all throughout the nation to just be able to attend this event. But it was just interesting to see how one event could have such an effect to the community, or how the community can take advantage of that, which is what my focus was. So if I go back now to my screen, or just a lot of people that even think or share their thoughts. I was looking at this the second time. I asked, what are people's opinions or seeing how the community can take advantage of being able to provide different services of transportation, providing actually members who are attending the event parking, or they're able to like be able to provide an income or additional income to their service for those who are attending the music festival at the stadium, utilizing their own homes as a parking spot, be able to provide water, Gatorades, just drinks to attendees coming to and from the festival.
I think the thing that came to my mind, Paul, was that a lot of times people are so unaware of the opportunities because it's not conversational. You know they have gone to that stadium themselves before. No thoughts there. So what I was thinking is that, community organizing is critically important in a situation like this, so people can know that they have a say in what's going on right next door or right in front of them. But it's just going to take bringing people together to have those conversations.
Is it something that the city council should get involved in and make sure that some of the money that they're bringing in at these big events is going out to the community instead of sitting in the city's budget to do whatever they want with it and not help the people the neighborhood that they're impacting? But it has to be something done. Usually I know here in California with the lottery, they said the lottery was going to bring in so much money for education. They were going to give a percentage of that money to the schools for better the schools or however they want to spend it. And they, after being active for many, many years, they never gave the educational system any money. They had to literally sue the lottery system in order to get the money that they had promised them. So I don't know if that's something that you can do in your area like that, but no, some of that money should need to be coming to the community to better the surroundings that people are living in.
Yes, exactly. Amelia?
I know that here with like all of our main venues are privately owned technically. But of course the city and county get plenty of kickbacks for, allowing big events to be hosted. However, if, they're ever asked about where that part of the money goes, it's never addressed. And one of the bigger venues now is called the amphitheater, and it's actually built on native land. So that's even more something that should be addressed, but isn't. And so like we have a big issue with our city and county executives and legislators just being completely closed door policy on money until it comes time to tell us, oh, hey, we have all this money we're going to spend doing this project.
Mm-hmm.
And just hope, actually they don't even care if we're happy about it or not. And Syracuse, it has the highest lead affected rate in the United States, and the highest instances of homelessness among children. We're number 9 among poverty, number 1 for poverty in children, like all of these things. And so it's one of those things, like, how do you find out where this money is going?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyone else? I know Rush, you made a comment about this happening in Ohio as well. Would you like to further expand?
Well, I just meant that about the lottery. In Ohio, they just took the lottery money and put it in the general accounts, instead of using it for the schools, which is what it was specifically approved for.
Yeah, no, and all of this is what I like to engage in. A lot of the conversations or questions that we pose was stuff where I'm like, okay, how do we get our city elected officials and representatives, I guess, to ask more questions and know like how could this money be better fitted, especially to those who live in that community. Yes.
I think Ms. Evelyn had the best idea in the world. You have to organize yourselves. Okay, you can't rely on other people organizing you, and that I think we kind of a little bit too meek, and we need to organize. And when you organize, then when you get everybody in room and on the same page, then you go to these councils and you go to the people who's pocketing the money and say, hey, you're in our community and we don't see a dime. So we're here to negotiate or whatever, but you have to have the plan. You get the plan set, what you want, how much you want, why you want it, and then you take it to them with the people who are going to present it. It'd be nice if you had a lawyer in it, but I don't know, but to take it because you can't have, that's our problem. We allow these people to step over us. They just step on us and keep going, and they figure but and what has it gotten us?
Yeah.
We have to stop being stepped on and say, oh, okay, let me turn the other side, you can step on the other side, but you can't do that because you're never going to get anything. You have to speak out, organize, speak out, take your group there and tell them, hey, this is, and if they don't listen to you the first time, go back to the next one and keep going back until they get sick of you. And if you have somebody who can get into the media, we have met with these people 10 times. We go to the meeting, we express that they getting rich off of our community, but our community is getting nothing. And then they get embarrassed. And they might give you $1 or $2, but it's more than nothing.
No, you're spot on. And those are my takeaways, especially for that. Ooh, Melissa, yes.
Yeah, I think Charlotte is spot on because I was sitting here thinking, listening to other people's comments, and all that came to me was money equals power. And so but if you take the approach that Charlotte's suggesting, that I totally agree with, we've got to all start making some noise. And I think the only real change that can happen is through these local and state elections. Yes. Because I don't really have much trust in federal elections necessarily, but the local and state elections, those school boards, those city councils, I think that's, if there's hope, that's where it has to be loud and noisy.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, because I'm gonna share my, see if this is the next slide. So this was a school, this is called Norwood Elementary. This is exactly where I, as well as a former teammate of mine, where we stood up, we were advertisers listening, we're, selling and marketing the drinks to attendees who are leaving to the festival and also returning back, where, I don't think we left until 1 a.m. each night. So from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, just being able to engage with different people. And ironically, which is something I was doing as like a test for myself, standing in front of the school at nighttime, I was just sharing over to people. I was like, hey, if you don't even have the money to support us directly, my friend and I are teachers at this school. And I was like, you can even donate to us as you see the conditions of our school and how you can help out our students for this school year. Anybody have an idea of how many people actually donated?
Few.
Zero.
Few.
Zero, exactly. Not one person took up the option to say, oh, wow, you're a teacher here, let me do. Not one person. And it got me to think, where I'm like, how could teachers, especially myself being a teacher, where I don't teach at the school specifically, but I'm just thinking about teachers and administration at the school, supporting staff, like how could they be able to benefit themselves if we were to say like, look, we're teachers at this school, could you please donate to us, and no one would be able to get involved? Or it forced me to think like how we really have to take a lot more action and really be proactive in the work that we want to get done. And this was really how I came across this approach, where I started to engage more with people, even at my school and even at the school here, to say like, what are ways that the school can be benefited where we're not seeing those funding opportunities from the school board or the district or the state level, but how can we utilize those who live in the community itself to take advantage of the opportunities that are right here in front of us, especially with the Miami Dolphins Stadium literally being a 15-minute walk where people are parking and commuting all along the way. So it got me to do some research and some digging where, as mentioned earlier, I took notes on just what's happening in the area. So as mentioned before, Miami Gardens is the third largest city in Miami-Dade County, but the largest for predominantly African Americans. You have a household income of 46,000. For those who live individually, 22,000. And we see the Dolphins' revenue is over $500 million. So it's like, how could this money start to flow more where we present a lot of these opportunities more for a lot of people who live in the area? Things that I took note of was just seeing how we can take advantage of this, where I started to talk more to those who are in your community neighborhood watch, seeing how people meet up and just starting to organize and say like, you know, what are y'all thoughts on what can go on, or how can we better take advantage of opportunities where we're voting or we're trying to talk to our elected officials, but we might not have something tangible. So I said, okay, let's revamp how we can make this approach or this act, that we're organizing ourselves, and then we're going to showcase, all right, this is things that we've been able to do. How can you now be able to help support us? Or how can you now be able to advocate and speak up for us as a community to be a lot more involved or get a lot more recognition or taking us serious in regards to the Dolphins organization themselves, but the community that's be able to flow, even say within the police department is helping control the areas, making that interaction a lot more better, positive. We're just allowed just conversations to flow, where what we've all been discussing has been beautiful.
My
So within it,
suggestion when you do that, put the picture of that school that looked like it's getting ready to cave in.
Yeah,
that should be the front part of your proposal. You should put that on there, because you know they're spending money somewhere, but they're not spending money in the community that they're utilizing. So I would be scared to have my child go to that school, because it really looks like it's getting ready to cave in.
Yeah, which is sad. And it's like, who else is speaking up for that? I'm sure you might have some parents who are, but who else really cares or is backing and supporting that? That's left to be determined. But this is where my venture continues. So as I looked at it, was just thinking about like, how can we be better off in revamping resources? I saw different people utilizing these golf carts, and they'll charge customers $10 and $20. So as I did some math on it, renting the fee, let's say for Saturday, Sunday. So for this upcoming school year, but also football year, we have both college football and professional NFL football. We have the Miami Hurricanes and the Miami Dolphins playing at the stadium. Where I thought to myself, okay, if someone were to rent out, let's say a rental fee, a cart for this Saturday, Sunday, and you're charging people to pay, let's say at your area. So you're opening the schools up, having the schools parking lot open, where you're charging customers to pay at your park, to park at your school. And then you're able to say, we have the teachers organized, where the teachers are utilizing the golf carts, taking customers from the school, commuting them to the entrance of the stadium, and back and forth. So just rinse and repeat, just finding more people who wants to be able to pay $5, $10 to sit on board. You're dropping them off, you're collecting this money. Now we're able to have money full in our hands, or just as the teachers, to now be able to put money back into the school. That's an initiative that people would like to take part of. So that was some research I was able to find up on, in addition to, let's say if you're selling out drinks such as water and Gatorade, for example, inside the stadium, they're charging you over $10. But if you purchase water and Gatorade, something from Walmart, you get a pack that's $6. So each individual Gatorade for $2 or at most $5, you can see yourself having a profit of $34 at the most, or at the low end, $10 each. And that's just from one pack of Gatorades. So what I was doing some math on was like, okay, what if we had each member of a school, or let's just say, just conservatively or softly, let's say 15 people contributed, let's say $20 each. $20, I multiply that, dividing it by the total. We have $300 total you can be able to provide for, dividing that by each pack of Gatorade. Now we're looking at ourselves with 50 total cases of Gatorade that we can do. Once again, if we're selling it for profit of a high end for $5, 50 times 34, we see the different profit margins that someone can start taking up on, where it's like, wow, like now we have teachers able to have however much supplies or just money that needs to be provided for their students throughout the school year. Yeah, Charlotte.
I'm sorry, I have a big mouth. What can I say?
You're
thinking. I love you thinking, but you're thinking too small.
Oh, for sure.
This needs to be a bigger issue. Education is for everyone, and it's not separate but equal anymore. It's supposed to be equal, right? And how many schools in Miami look like that? You see what I'm saying? So you need to go to the people who's taken this money in for the Dolphins and the concerts and whatever else they have. You need to go to the people who are getting that money, who's getting the rent money that they're paying them to have these events. And you need to get some of that. And to get some of that, you need to think bigger. This is good for the community. This is something they can put in their, what do you call that, petty cash thing? But petty cash is not going to fix this building. And petty cash is not going to fix the ground. You want something that's consistent, that you're going to have income coming into the community to make sure that this never happens again. So you need to organize, get some of these big, strong, educated men who have power in your community together and tell them what's going on with the picture of this school and any other schools that look like that, and say, how do we get the money to make sure this never happens again? And if you keep going back to the council or the board of supervisors for education and they're not listening, then you have to go to the media, because you have to let them know. Keeping records of every time you contact them, every time you call them, every time you sent them everything, every time you went to a meeting and nothing was done. Keep that data and who said what. And you tell the media, this is what we're getting in response, and this is what our kids have to go to school for, when this city is bringing in billions of dollars and we're at this. But I'll shut my mouth up. I'm gone. I mean, it's unfair. It's unfair. And you can't hit unfairness with a smile and kindness. You do it nicely and calmly, but you can't let people walk all over you. And this is great for the community, but not for that school. It's not going to get that building repaired. It's not going to get the grounds like it's supposed to be. And I'm going to try to shut up. Bye.
Melissa?
Yeah, this kind of piggybacks exactly what Charlotte was saying in terms of thinking bigger. I was sitting here thinking, the power of social media, for instance, and especially like these groups that have people coming from all over the country. What about looking at all the universities where each of the Miami Dolphins, I mean, like what high schools did they go to? And like, there's got to be a network of people that, like, from LinkedIn or, any other, not even professional based networking arm, that it's like, who knows somebody that knows somebody who can provide a personal introduction to one of those Miami Dolphins. I mean, this could be true for any kind of environment across the country too, to make those personal connections, to say, hey, look, we're not asking for arms and legs here, but look at this school where your stadium is. and what can you, how can we work together to raise this awareness so true change happens? And because, you know, I've thought a lot about just those networking pieces, and I worked at a university that on a grant program that was geared towards working with kids who were in the underserved areas and those first gen kids that you know, like just to help them get ready for college. And one of the things that came out of all of that research out of this grant was that people who are living in underserved areas or who are first gen don't have this wealth of networking, not even just money wealth, but the wealth of a network and how that can forever change somebody. I mean, I think back on the course of my career, and every job, every like really good thing that has happened to me has resulted from some type of networking, you know, and that's, you know, especially in something like this where you need money and power, you know, even if the football players were just willing to help with a fundraiser. I mean, holy cow, for that school, what kind of change could that make?
That's Miss Evelyn.
Yeah, I'm gonna. It's like we're all piggybacking off each other's thoughts and comments. You know, I'm a basketball fan. I'm not a football fan. And in light of that, I'm thinking about what I've noticed with the NBA and how they actually have a platform for these kinds of things. And I would venture to say that we have to be more strategic in how we reach out. You know, Facebook is off the chart. It's just not going to happen there. But I think I was thinking about the group of people that I saw in your video presentation. They're young. I didn't see everybody, but the ones that were on camera, young people. Where do they hang out? TikTok and other entities where they really have a lot of conversations going on. And I've noticed that the NBA, the people that I follow, hang out on TikTok. So where do you want to send your messages to? Where do you want to mobilize and get their attention? Well, certainly they have a social justice platform too, I would think, on their sites. And I'm risky. I've always been that way. It's just the way I was raised to be. Just go for it. Don't hold back. If there's something you need to do, just go in and get it done. And so I would be remiss if I didn't say, start the contact there. Dare to do it. And just see, I would venture to say you're going to receive a response. Let them know verbatim, like Charlotte is saying, no hesitation. Do not chop your words, and let them know this is my vision, but I need help. You know, it's a matter of mobilizing, and you have to stay in that mode of mobilizing constantly. One time is not enough. 2 times is not enough. It's ongoing. And then I want to go back to what Charlotte was saying about the city council, and maybe Melissa was saying about the school board. And what came to my mind was bird dogging. If you know anything about bird dogging, that's exactly what you guys are talking about. You don't go by yourself. You make sure you get a group of people with you that are solid in what you want to see accomplished. And you're going to ask Amelia at that school board, or you're going to make a statement and say, so do you understand what I'm saying? And they're going to dismiss you. She's going to literally dismiss you. Well, Melissa's there. And Melissa's going to say, well, based on your response, that was not the answer to my question. And we're needing this to happen. They're going to ignore her too. And then here comes Charlotte. And Charlotte is going to get the message across. She's going to stay there until she gets what she wants. Maybe not. It might not be this session. You might have to go back to the next session. So what I'm saying is, as opposed to when I was a kid, people don't go to school board meetings. People do not go to city council meetings. That has to change. Because that's where your voice is going to be heard, is in those entities, but you've got to go prepared. I think it was Charlotte and Melissa, maybe Amelia said, you've got to have all your stuff together. Paul, I know you well enough to know you're going to have all your stuff together. This is only a suggestion, only an idea, because I know that you are going to have it together. But I would say start now, getting people involved around you, and just let that dream flow. It's not going to, you can't let it die now, because we've heard it.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, and I mean, everybody's all on the same page and board, which is exactly what I definitely wanted from this. You know, sharing this opportunity, especially as Charlotte called me out, like you're thinking too small. Just exactly. Like we have to be able to start thinking what's the best way of organizing people, our communities, community members even recognize that. Like there's so much power and opportunity, but you gotta want it and you also gotta take it.
Yeah. Take a look at Amelia's comment in the chat.
You take anything away from moms of liberty, it's how the bird.
It's on the negative side, but we got to do it on the positive side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you see, is the same.
Obviously, don't take it to the level they do, even on the positive side of things. Like, still don't be quite that intense. But what they're doing technically is bird dogging. Just rabid bird dogging.
I'm gonna check them out. Yeah. I mean, yeah, from here, to be honest, we've all been going out. Yeah, we can go straight to activity, but we've been doing it so far. You know, how do we brainstorm different ways of looking at, let's say, forms of, if it's even entrepreneurship, but just galvanizing people, like utilizing different social, cultural norms in our environment of being able to monetize, but gather, see how we can make our voices much more stronger, heard, understanding the power that we might not necessarily see ourselves. You know, how can I be able to share this message to a community member of wanting them to get involved and see that potential, let alone like the recent fact that came out about Miami being the least affordable place to live now. You know, but just like what are ways that we can be able to, one, protect and conserve our community.
You know, I'm a firm believer. I said I wouldn't say anything else, but what can I say?
Hey,
I'm a firm
star
believer.
student.
I'm a firm believer that if you go into somebody and you want something, you need something, you would have to show them statistics of why you need it. So you need to do your research, okay? And I don't know if you want to do this, but I would compare the dollars from the other neighborhoods as the dollar of what's going into your neighborhood. You're going to show them what you need, but you're going to show why are they getting this, and ours is almost dilapidating and falling down on us, and we're not getting anything. Education is equal for all, but does this appear equal to you when you show this one and that one? But you have to show the data. You have to do the research. You have to find out how much they're getting and how much what you're getting, so they can see the difference. And this is what's coming in our neighborhood, but this is what we're getting, and this is what we have to live with. When this neighborhood is not bringing the income in that we do, but yet they're getting the money. Okay, I'll try to be quiet.
No, you're perfect. You are perfect. Yes, Amelia, I see your hand.
Amelia, you have a question?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear he called me. No, I was just gonna say, last night I was discussing with a couple of friends what being in coalition means. And because it's something that certain people have issue with actually doing correctly. They say, oh, we're a coalition, or we are working in coalition. And in reality, no, they're not. They're just trying to take over a space. And I think that truly working in coalition is what's one of the things that are super important in situations like these, because that's what you need to take an issue and bring it to a higher level and to spread the resources where they need to be spread. Because if you're only, it's the same thing as if you're just one person in a crowd, it's only going to go so far. If you're only one org in an area, you're only going to have so much influence. The more you can build a coalition of like-minded organizations to spread the message and to get others to also work in coalition, the farther that you will be able to expand, and the more likelihood that you will get the people with money to then say, okay, I see what you're doing. Let's talk.
Yeah. And something I even want to pivot to is organizations like us, volunteers and people who are passionate about how to get involved. What I've been noticing as I even started to branch out and just talk to other, let's say, nonprofits or organizations that are trying to do great work, a lot of times they're not consulted or aware of proper means of outreach. You know, how, like, if we were to put a list together for how we advise someone in Miami Gardens to connect with another fellow member in their community to say, this is why you need to be involved, or how can I get you involved, or engage with you to see the importance of being involved for us to take ownership in our community and neighborhoods. Let's see. Grassroots, yeah. Yeah, so I had different questions, but I like where we are now. Really just to close, but to end is like, maybe we can put ourselves, just document our list together. Actually, we can do that now. We can put ourselves a list together of like, all right, what would be some things that we would add to a slide and be like, if I'm engaged with a community member, what's the best way of how I should approach them? Or how can I assess this manner, to see results and change, especially to say if we're going to judge us for a school year. If we're going to say with the school, how could we utilize the Dolphins and get them more involved, the students, the players, etc. I'm curious to just hear people's thoughts and what would be some best ways or best practices you all would like to go about this.
Well, it seems like the largest entity right now outside that stadium is going to be your school. You have teachers in there. You have your principal, assistant principal, whomever. I would venture to say that that might be the place to start, even though your educational system right now in Florida is up for grabs. Seems like, and that's not a good way to say it. It's just like, what is he going to do if you start this process? I mean, you can't think that way. You got to go back to Charlotte and think bigger than that. You got to be able to override that in your mind. But I would say talking with them, that's a large group of people. And not only you have the teachers and the administrators, you got all those parents. What a great platform if you could get the staff and teachers on board and then invite those parents into a meeting and have that discussion, ongoing discussion, because a lot of them are going to have questions and they won't be answered in the first meeting. But I think give yourself time to communicate with the neighborhood and then get them a really, some are going to be committed, some are not going to be committed for various reasons. But that, to me, if I was in that position and had the opportunity, I would start there.
Probably if you talk to whoever handles the budget for the school, they could tell you exactly how much money is actually going towards the school as compared to other allocations for other schools, even a couple of blocks away. Then you would know what you're dealing with when you go to the people to ask for money. You have the actual facts. They can't say, well, no, we give, they don't. You need to find out what they're doing and what they're not doing so you can approach them with the data, because you just can't go say, we need this, this, and this. And they can say, well, we give it to you. And you don't know if they did or not. So find out first. Okay. It might even be some misappropriation going on in the school. It might be they're getting the money, but what are they doing with the money? You see what I'm saying? So find out all of that before you go to, the next level. You want to find out where the money is going, if they are getting the money, if they're not getting the money. And if they know you there for the sole purpose of helping them, because you want to make sure this school look like all the other schools in Miami. And, if they kind of hesitated to give you information, then maybe go to the next level to see what actually is being given to them, because they might be getting it. There's that funny, it reminds me of that funny thing that comes on TV where they're at the school where most of them are African American, or I guess are low income, and the principal of the school is buying this for her and that for her, and when their money coming in is not going to the actual school. So it might, but it's a comedy. But I'm just saying, you don't know, that might be actually happening in real life.
That's true.
Yeah.
And all of those records are subject to public record laws.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get pushback that they don't want to give you that information, I mean, by law, they have to, and you can always go through a public records request. I would also encourage you to get some media training. And if you want to, I mean, I'm happy to help with that. That's, you know, some of my area of expertise. But I think anytime you kind of know how, even though I'm super critical of the media now, when you know how they work and know what they're looking for, it's easier to get placement, you know, on, you know, to actually get some airtime. So I'll put my information in the chat, or you can,
perfect. Yes.
Miss Evelyn, but I'm happy to help in those ways. And even just in terms of like those networks that we were talking about in figuring out, you know, in that whole group of Miami Dolphins, there've got to be at least, I would say, 2 people that have connections with somebody, you know, or somebody, you know, so that just seems like it could be really low hanging fruit for some immediate attention to the school. Once you do this other research to find out that, you know, they aren't misappropriating funds and things like that.
Yeah, Amelia has a really good point in the chat too, Paul, about reaching out to businesses.
Especially one of those regularly sponsoring school or local events. Are they frequent sponsors? Are they an alum? Yep. Do their children attend the school? Exactly. Would they be willing to work alongside? Oh man, no, this is great. Yeah, it's grassroots, organizing outreach around the business aspect. Yeah, no, I'm just want to, of course, applaud you all. Like, this is definitely the intention behind this. How also just utilizing ourselves to just see the effort and understanding the more economic side of things. Yeah, no, I'm excited. Yeah, thank you all.
Okay, this was awesome. I'll tell you what, I'm just absolutely, I'm just amazed. Yeah. So thank you, Paul, for this incredible presentation. And you know, we didn't know what direction it was going to take. So thank you guys for your contributions and your support overall. This is like Paul's debut, and I'm thinking, I just want it to go well for him. So thank you so much for participating. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having it. I enjoyed it.